go in their favor. But Empire has a map advantage, so I think that's going to really give them a leg up here in this matchup.
Basically, casters have no idea what they're talking about, and if we say it gives a certain team an advantage, we probably mean the other team has the advantage. But for BDS, I think some fair criticism that some will have levied against them, especially in the pro scene, is, you know, they're a team that thrive in best of ones. That's where they seem to have their strength. When it comes to best of series, they can still win, as we saw at the last major, but they definitely struggle more than they do in the best of one format. So here, a best of 5, real good time to get your feet dirty, I think, and stepping into Villa as your first map. The most hated map by BDS all year long is one hell of a way to make a statement if they win this. Anyway, we are into our map ban, starting out with Ace and Thatcher, as you can see. Valkyrie going to follow through, no huge surprise there. Any ideas what the final one might be, given that Wamai is open? It's BDS banning Jess?
Yeah, BDS surely is going to ban Wamai. They have also banned Mirror a lot of times as well. So you can see them deliberating around it now. They actually probably thought Empire was going to ban Wamai because it is in the major, their most banned operator. So they've actually turned around and said, well, because they didn't ban it, we're going to have to ban it now. And guess what? That leaves Mirror in play, which coincidentally is a very high ban in the major for BDS. So I'm wondering whether or not they're kind of sitting there going, okay, 1, do we run her? They're starting on defense. Why not? We can. Or 2, did we not want Team Empire to have the opportunity to run her, but we also don't want them to have the opportunity to have magnets, to have Wamai. The shield's still in play. You guys heard those patch notes today. It will get removed, but it's still in play at the moment. So I think they've made the right decision, but they might be a little put off on their second half when Empire starts bringing a Mirror.
Alrighty, round number 1 coming up. We're kicking things off in Aviator and Games. And you know what would just send this major into meltdown? If BDS chose to adopt the sort of strategy that we saw coming out of Virtus Pro with their living library hold yesterday. Now, we saw in 24 hours the difference between BDS of coming up against that for the first time, having no idea how to beat it. And yesterday, they don't lose against it a single time. They defeated Virtus Pro on that defense twice. One with a really cool Amaru play, the second time with a much more well thought out approach to it with a more standard attack. So it's very clear that BDS, as much as Shoko might tweet that he hates Villa, they've been putting some work and hours into this map. They are ready for this. And as James said, this could be a BDS map.
It's interesting that they chose to go Aviator first. And the reason I say that is they actually have a really bad win-loss on this particular site. Their best site, and when I say by far, sample size-wise, is actually Statue and Trophy. And Dining and Kitchen comes in a close second. So statistically, outside of Living and Library, of course, as you spoke about before, this is technically their worst site. So if they win this one, that probably bodes pretty damn well for them.
One of those things we don't see all that much anymore since Buck, of course, lost his frag grenades, as well as Buck and Sledge coming along at the same time.
Peace.
I know. Who knows? Maybe in future they'll make a glorious return, but for now they stay firmly in the bin. However, you still got 2 members on side here with the grenade. You have the Maverick and the Sledge, so a lot of destructive work that can be done by the attackers here to capitalize on those vertical angles if desired. But I think that's more than anything else looking for some play downstairs. I tell you what, Empire know this. If you have watched BDS playing this map over the last couple of days, which they will have been, Shiko lives for red stairs. Every single round, you will see him on there at some point, and they know that all too well. They've actually rotated a couple of times and put a Malusi at the bottom of red stairs to prevent people running at him. But here, Joystick goes, well, it's not there. So guess what? I'm gunning for Shiko, and he has no idea what's coming.
I've seen Joystick do that before, do that exact crouch walk in from the basement, walk all the way up and surprise someone who's not expecting him to already be in the building. You can't do that consistently, but on the first round, a little surprise like that, that's a nice little addition. Alems, however, he wants to try and make a little bit of a flank of his own, and is Joystick aware of this? I don't think he is, just given his prone position on red, and, well, they're aware of it all the way over on Astronomy. They were trying to get a line of sight onto him there. They're trying to lock him off, which is smart, because he has a C4 in pocket. That could deny the plant when they try and go for it. Unfortunately for Empire, this entire major, they've not been very good with plants whatsoever, so they don't want to keep that up.
I think what's slightly uncharacteristic for BDS on this round, for me at least, is that very historically on the tilt stair sites on Villa, they always bring 4 C4s with them, whether it's for lateral denial, looking for those horizontal denials from coming out of game, for example, or the vertical ones. They've always had that as part of their gameplay. The vertical play maybe a little bit less so. But here they're losing members kind of one by one. Shiko on the roam, who wasted so much time for Virtus Pro the other day. Brede, the clutch master himself, the site player for BDS, who we saw go absolutely huge at the very start of stage 1. A little more settled in this round from those two, so it falls down to Renshiro. No doubt their MVP player in the last major and in stage 2, maybe a little bit less so coming into this major, but I know that yesterday he had a fantastic fixture that you were very excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see him pop off again. Is anyone protecting the buck underneath? Not really, but the Vector can't hit the shots that Renshiro's looking for. Speak of the devil, of course. And I have no doubt he will have impact. We've called those mainstays the power position. What I'm worried is that Empire aren't even, caring about it. They don't really even care about it. Oh my God, could this be a flawless round to kick things off? Can Renshiro bring it back? I'm not convinced at all, Des.
Well, Renshiro's by himself, and yes, it's going to be a flawless round to start things off. Empire, clinical, prepared, and aware of what BDS were doing. Down from the moment they Psycho to cleaning things out with impact, well, with grenades from below, sorry. Wonderful start for them, and maybe saying to BDS, is this really the map you want to pick here in the major final? We're not so convinced.
All right, I'm going to throw something out there. And I think this is why we may be seeing Team Empire starting on attack for a lot of these maps. I'm going to have to get the full list out in front of me in a moment. But I look over to their stats, and out of all of the EU major, they have a 51.9% attacking win percentage out of all of their attacking rounds. And defensively, they're about 60.6% win rate on their defensive rounds. Compared to BDS, to give you a little bit of okay, what does that even mean? Well, BDS have only won about 44% of their attacking rounds. So Team Empire in their attacking rounds are far more effective, and they're not even that good at getting the plant down. They're not even in the top 4 people or rather 4 teams in this that have been able to get plants down. It's been BDS, Tempra, VP, and then another player from BDS as well, Rafale, being getting way more plants than Empire throughout this entire competition. So somehow they're winning rounds that, okay, maybe they aren't fully objectively based, but they're still winning them, and they're winning them far more than BDS have been winning theirs.
I guess BDS like to play this more aggressive style. They're not the team that will just all turtle 5 members on site. Sometimes you'll see Shaiko off from the roam by himself, and holding red stairs, you might say, well, not a massive roam here. He did want to pull back to site a bit later, but the other day when he got pincered in by Virtus Pro, what happened? They sent Alem out on the roam to go and join him. And we saw him downstairs in the last round just holding in a cubby by himself for the longest time, unable to really do very much. So they aren't a team that like to play on site. So for Empire, maybe it is a look. We know where they play. We know what their tendencies are. Let's just pick them off when they go for those same plays before. Either way, Empire with a wonderful start. And this round is going to be almost an identical repeat. The only change worth mentioning is that Alem and Rafale are swapped over here. Alem playing on the smoke rather than Malusi. And Rafale going from the smoke to playing on the Malusi.
Really, really quick entry from the joystick yet again on the Ash. You could tell he understands what his role is, and I say that because he's been playing this role on attack specifically for a very, very long time. So he knows exactly what the point of his role is. And, oh, what an unfortunate disconnect. It's way too late into the round to call a rehost. And this is going to severely detriment them. So what Shaiko needs to do now is, unfortunately, pick up a lot of the slack. He needs to be hitting these shots. And, well, he hits one and he hits a second. And that's what his team needs to now get the number count they need.
I'll speak it into existence, Jess, why don't you? Christ, 2 kills come out. It shuts down Joystick and Scyther. So it's still a advantageous situation for BDS being in a 4 versus 3, but obviously without that Malusi on side, without that C4 that BDS so often like to turn to, it means they only have 2 left, where normally they'd be used to having something like 4. So a small change coming in for them there. However, Shaiko's still holding on red stairs. Again, one of his favorite spots to play on this map is going to be a troublemaker. So for Empire, they've got to deal with that before they even start thinking about the site.
This numbers advantage now that they've been able to gain just out of that red stairs position from Shaiko, it's his famous position, as you were talking about before, will be critical. They still have over 60 seconds left, and that was a mismanaged grenade, but it doesn't matter because Always is there and he always hits his shots. Shaiko does finally go down, and it is a 3v3. And with 60 seconds left, Des, I worry because I'm looking over to the attackers, and the only hard bridge they have is Shepherd. And you put yourself in a lot of risk as a Maverick trying to open things up. So do they put lines of sight over into Vault? Maybe. Or are they just looking to just go behind Vault door, get that plant off and try and bait things out? I just don't know yet.
Ooh. Dan says, thank you very much. That C4 that came charging its way into Study blew up the Banshee on the ground as well. So he's a bit more free to move through Study as he wishes. But I think he knows he still can't easily step inside here. He is a one-man army playing on the south side and being contested through the hole that has been opened up through 90 is going to be Always. They're trying to see what they can get control of inside of Aviator. No one currently playing there. BDS playing for the denial. We saw them do this the other day as well, where they wait for the plant to come in. You have the smokes, you have the C4s, and BDS still hold the lead despite being a man down at the very start. Empire into the final 10 seconds have got to make it happen right here, right now. Grenades coming singing out, but the Goya shield has popped out to detract away from that. LM almost being blown to smithereens, but with no time left and the smoke still singing on the ground, or the fire still singing on the ground, there's nothing that they can do. BDS take the second round, despite, again, being that man down early on.
The big impact frags early on from Shaiko there. BDS had lost the player, and that's always very crippling. And welcome back, Rafal. This is just the grand final of the major, so, take your sweet time if you'd like. But losing that player...
He steps out to do a bit of coaching for the boys and be like, look, it's all right, boys. I'll just tell you what to do now. I'm going to sit back. I ain't got any pressure on me. Look, we're going to win this round. It's all good. And they do win it, so fair play.
I mean, that's what you need. And I think sometimes I notice that BDS, when they're under pressure, some of those big hitting players, Shaiko is one of them, tend to perform a little bit better. And when I say a little bit better, they're a little bit more reckless. You can tell that they're trying to make that hero play, that impact on the round that is needed. And he did manage to make that impact. My problem is that the first round, Empire got kind of lucky. With the Ash crouch walking in, no one knew he was on his way. Now, if you're going to deal with Shaiko, we said this in the first round, I think you and I, we said you've got to be able to get a pinch push onto him. You can't be trying to do these 1v1s in a one-dimensional state. Otherwise, he's going to destroy you because he has really phenomenal mechanical skill. So I would have liked to have seen Empire challenge him from below red stairs and from above in connector, and it would have worked a little better, I think.
Well, it's Scyther setting up on the wolf window, a joystick pushing from below, and it was just, Shaiko does not get out of this one alive, I suppose, in round number one. The last round came down to two of them pushing from the same angle. Bit of a different story. More time being wasted. Absolutely agree with you on that front. Let's see how Trophy and Statue goes as we move away from Aviator games for the first time. A Clash and a Maestro being added to the lineup for BDS here, dropping away from that Malusi and the smoke they brought along previously. Now, whenever I see Clash on this site, I always think of Fabian when he used to be on G2. Their hold would involve the Clash playing solo inside of Aviator and just holding the enemy team inside a bathroom. And there was very little they could do because of the shield supporting the Clash, the ADSs. Very keen to see what Alem's plans are for it in this round.
I hope they kind of use him later into the round to just be a time denial operator rather than, oh, we're going to play him quite aggressively. We're going to make sure that you can ping everyone and then we're just going to get all of our players to peak. I think BDS showed yesterday that they understand you don't have to peak everything. Some teams take a lot of time to get onto site. And as a result, you can have that, sixth teammate on your side, which is time. And you can really use that to your advantage. So I hope they play it a little bit more passive. You can see Dan, and actually Dan is the highest rated player in all of the EU major. He's got a 1.25. He's also got the highest KD. He's also got the highest entry stats. I mean, look, I don't want to go on too much about Dan, but if there's someone who is likely to make an impact here today for Empire, it's going to be him.
Well, he's had his upward trajectory, so has Renshira at the same time, so you can expect those two to be clashing near the top of the table at some point throughout this series, no doubt. But for Empire, this focus up to Wales, where do you expect for this side? You either start down to the south and study and work your way up, or you take Master, push into Bathroom and look to get control of Astro before you try and go for your play. Here's Alem looking to waste a bit of time, has the wall behind him open, a grenade comes through, almost takes him out, but I think downs Renshira at the same time. That could have been a double kill if that had been ever so slightly different in the outcome. Another grenade comes singing through, and Shaiko goes hyper-aggressive. He's going to say, look, try that one again and you're in the mud, matey. Down goes Scyther, and a K, he's the first man down, and Renshira gets picked back up. Definitely not a bad scenario, given it could have ended up so much worse for BDS.
That soft wall trick actually hasn't worked. I don't know what part of the wall they've missed, but they know they've missed something and they need to rectify it very quickly. You can see them analyzing exactly where it is. And, by using a drone, they should be able to tell as well. It means they don't have to put their body on the line. This is going to cause them a lot of time to distress very quickly if they don't work this out. They need this wall soft. Dan will impact it open, or they'll buck it and they'll get access, but it's wasted a lot of time.
Yeah, 40 seconds to go and time waits for no man here. Dan cutting up a kill as the guy we speak about earlier on and what he can deliver, bringing down God himself in Shaiko, it seems. 4v4, 30 seconds to play with though, and as you said, there's still quite a lot to do for them. A C4 on side for Renshira, and no doubt maybe the Mute as well will have one. Alem falling down finally on that Clash as Joystick comes swinging his way up the Astro stairs. They're in a spot now where they have the numbers advantage, but time, as you say, becomes that sixth man for the defensive team. You've still got Brede playing downstairs. C4 in hand, he's waiting for the push to come come through. Does he know about joystick? Surely he does, but doesn't throw it. They're inside the site here. Is he just waiting for a default plant? Because guess what, Brede? You're in completely the wrong spot. Renshiro can't see 4 Shepherd out. No one can stop him. The plant goes down due to maybe a slight miscalculation coming out of the side of BDS. A 4 versus 2. No way should they be able to lose this one, as Brede's going to try and challenge his way back up. They know where he is. Almost landing a headshot, but he's down to a slither of HP. One more shot, but he wins that duel out. 3 versus 2, and Brede looking to swing his way back into sight. One more downstairs. It's Dan for himself, and Brede, sadly, at 1 versus 3, probably shouldn't be the amount of time that you need to make this kind of play. Maybe 10 more seconds more, it could be a different story, but something tells me here he's not going to be able to net 2 kills and get the defuse off. Empire should take round number 3. There we go, and we'll see if BDS can repeat what they did in Aviators. They return to this site to take a win here to balance things out at 2 apiece.
Do you want to know what is amazing about that round? Is both teams played it right. BDS lost, but both teams played that right. It was just that Empire planted on a hard breach area. You cannot C4 where that plant went down. In fact, it's one of the only places where you can plant which cannot be C4 from below. So it came down from the fact that they gained trophy control all the way from Astronomy. Once they walked in, they had trophy control. No one could challenge them on the long angle. So of course they're going to plant in the bedroom doorway. Of course that's exactly what they're going to do. And you've got 2 players below with two C4s ready to go. You've got 2 Maestro camps still up, not destroyed. So that's the perfect opportunity for BDS to play vertically. But it just came out of a simple plant on a hard floor. Boom, you walk away with the win, easy as pie. I mean, it's coming down to such tiny, tiny elements and tiny, tiny factors like that. And that's what makes this such a cool grand final already, because little things like that are going to change an entire round, an entire matchup, an entire map.
Dare I wager it was a plan bait as well, because otherwise why send 2 charging their way inside a trophy when you know that the plant is going to go down elsewhere? Now, maybe you have the horizontal angle to help cover the planter, sure. It still felt like a lot to invest. One, a player running into the default plant spot inside of trophy, and another one holding the angle a bit further at back, while you kind of creep just inside the master door. Either way, big brain play by Empire gives them their second attacking round, and normally we'd be commending teams at this stage and saying, well, 2 attacking rounds on Villa. That's what you come to expect, and you've got that inside 3 rounds. Wonderful start. Let's see how round number 4 goes, mind you. We are repeating that site once more. Maybe for BDS here, there's a small change to be made. They had 2 playing below with C4s in last round. That's something we commended BP for and somewhat lamented BDS for, with not being too aware of the vertical play. I think it's very fair to say this is a massive improvement for them in the space of a couple of days on this map. Renshiro definitely improving himself with 2 kills, make it a 3rd as he swings onto Scyther. And hey, this round's going to go flawless. It's swinging back the other way, it feels like, as Renshiro finds a 3K, sees one more, makes it a quadra kill. And for BDS, well, 4 kills for Renshiro in round 4. Chat, you know what key to be pressing right now.
They gifted Renshiro. It's like Christmas has come early here today. They're like, oh, here's a kill, here's a kill, here's a kill. Oh, and here's also a buck walking in, not looking at you. Even though we just droned you, we won't tell our teammate where you are so that he looks the complete opposite way, and then we'll gift you yet another gift. That's all the Christmases come at once for Renshiro, to be honest. I don't know where the other 5th kill came from, but it was a good headshot nonetheless. And I'm sort of questioning there. Empire did so well on a couple of their attacks now. How could they zoom a drone all the way up pantry, look Renshiro dead in the eyes, and then the buck comes walking in from laundry and looks the other way? Is there a little bit of miscommunication? I don't know, Des, but that was really strange.
For a team that we normally commend on the drone play as well, it was something to behold. Anyway, round number 5, we still are going to dance around those downstairs sites. We're not going to see them come to the fore at all. The 2 teams doing all they can to play the floor is lava with the downstairs sites. Instead, we go back upstairs with Aviator and Gaines coming back in. So far, it has been this tit-for-tat trade. Empire take the first round of the site, BDS adapt and come back in the second. Will we follow the same trend? Because if so, Empire walk away with 3 attacking rounds. A massive success for them given how this has started.
Oh no, there's going to be a landing Banshee, and there's going to be a mid-red stairs Banshee as well. Yes. And there's going to be 3 ADSs. Now, if you've ever seen a team fortify 1 player as heavily as that, then I'm happy to be considered wrong, but I've never seen a team that goes, hey, our big hitting player, our big impact fragger is playing red stairs. Do you mind if we put like 90% of our defensive utility right next to him so he stays alive for as long as possible? And Shaika goes, yes, look at me, I'm heavily fortified, let's go. I don't imagine them flushing him out anytime soon.
They're using the one they mentioned, but that I mentioned earlier on, that I think it was Virtus Pro when they were game against them. This is what BDS ran when they had the one at the bottom. We didn't see one at the top at the same time, I don't think. But yeah, this is literally putting Shaiko in a bunker and saying, watch out, there is well, I'm not going to say it's an aimbotting machine, but it's basically someone who's going to be able to click on any heads that walk around the corner. I was like, what can you say here? Like an automated machine gun that never misses? It's an aimbot. But it's not obviously what Shaiko does. He's just that damn good at the game. You've got Scyther once again. I imagine that is contesting outside of Wolf window, one playing on the stairs below. So Empire is setting up for the same sort of attack, but are probably aware they've got to deal with quite a lot of utility that's been dumped in this corner. The first flash comes out, isn't consumed by an ADS or by Shaiko. He's in a pretty powerful spot here, and all I'm waiting for is the right moment for him to get the call, to swing, pick up some kills, and this could be disaster for the side of Empire. There's the first one onto Scyther. That's Wolf window cleared. There's one more out to the right-hand side playing on drones, but at this point, nothing to worry about. As long as he sits here, Shaiko is the gatekeeper to the site.
Empire need to stop peeking him one by one. I know they were trying to hold a shallow angle, but that is not the play. I don't think they've cooked any of the ADSs, and now they'll start to. There's one, and well, they're going to have to keep going and going and going. This pinch push is coming out. That grenade sailing out signals to me they're not even aware how many ADSs he has with him. Multiple Banshees that will give away the position of the Ash pushing below. Red Shiro's there to help out. And I tell you what, BDS, they just need a couple of rounds to, warm up, I think, Des. I think they're ready to go.
Pretty much. It happens sometimes. We saw it actually on this exact map when BDS took the first 3 rounds against Virtus Pro on the defense. It did take time to warm in. And hey, Empire is saying, look, just because they've warmed up, it doesn't mean that we aren't either. They finally get rid of Shaiko. A second kill comes through. So as good as the round started for BDS, Empire are at least able to balance things back out at a 3 versus 3. But as we've touched on in every single round so far, time waits for no one. 30 seconds to go, and they still need to get the plant down. You've got a couple of members of BDS wielding those C4s, holding quite far back, and you still have a Lem with those smoke canisters. Every single second that disappears, the rougher this gets for the side of Empire.
Oh no, had Rafal taken a more aggressive angle on that line, he actually would have been able to see the Maverick who was laying down. Missed opportunity, 10 seconds left. They're just going to have to run out of time here. Surely there's no way they make it in.
90 push coming through. They've completely changed up their attack, and all the way through they go. Rafal holding inside a vault gets picked off towards the bitter end as well. It was kind of a do or die, we have to make sure everything is perfect here. They played for the trade onto 1. They had Dan holding inside a study for any rotates back out towards Aviator. Beautifully played in the closing execute, but that round was pretty back and forth.
It seemed a little bit unbelievable to me that they happened to be able to get that kill on the Billiards player, and then the Vault player exposed themselves to multiple angles. Especially when you're down on time like that, you could be absolutely certain that you would probably be able to get away with just hiding behind a door and playing that 0-second timer because it's a 7-second defuse. And at that point, you've got a 1v2 or whatever it might be if your player does go down inside. So a little bit of panic there from BDS, unwarranted panic as well. Lucky round there from Empire, but something that we don't usually see, and something that BDS does not want to see, considering they are a defensive-sided team, especially during the major, is if Empire wins this attacking round and then they go onto their attack, they will be in a 2-round deficit on their weakest side. That is not good.
No, unless they can work some absolute wonders on the attack, which we've seen them do. What are you excited by, Jess? Talk to me.
Why are there 3 barbed wires like that? No, this is disgusting. This is like, I've never seen a team commit so much. I said before they've committed so much to Shaiko. Now they've got 3 barbed wires.
I want to call him out for this. I let him on the interview said yesterday. We asked him about the reverse shields, what their thoughts on it is. Like, I don't know, I don't play shields, so I don't know why the guys do it. I'll ask them. Now he's the one placing the damn shields in reverse.
Where is he? Where is that?
Here, look.
He's trying to keep it secret. He's trying to keep it secret as if we didn't say it was for a certain reason.
Yeah. He's asked and seen the light, and now he's like, okay, damn, this is good. This is good stuff, guys. I'm going to start playing it now. Here we are. Let's see what happens. I love, by the way, how we've had a few players now switch between playing Smoke for them. It's been a bit of a trade back and forth.
A bit of versatility. Don't mind if I do. And there are teams actually that are having more of the discussion that if a player's not feeling switched on that day, they will go to support. They're saying, I'm not hitting my shots, boys. I'm not hitting my shots. And someone else goes, well, I am. Do you want to give me the Jaeger? Do you want to give me the more aggressive role? Yeah, do that. And teams will do that more now, which is cool because players at this level are flexible. They are versatile with their operator choices. So why not?
I mean, ironic, because Alem and Rafael have got 1 kill between the pair of them. I don't know if that was the point of conversation that was had. It's been quiet. Not all saying they're playing badly, especially when Ranshiro stepped up so far and got 6 kills for himself. Joystick's doing all he can to try and burn these ADSs out. Are they really going to commit to clearing this stat like this?
Yeah, yeah. This is their push. They do not want to deviate from this push because this is what they've dry run. This is what they've scrimmed. This is what they know. And if you deviate from that, especially as a Russian team, for the most part, you won't see that very often. Where did Shaiko go? Okay, he's decided to move up really aggressively here. That was not the play at all in my mind. And yet again, another flawless round incoming, possibly, Des?
Back and forth between these teams. I mean, that'll be the, what, third flawless round if we get it in this round too?
Yep.
Liam.
Wow. I can't analyze that, my dude. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen, though. We don't have to analyze it because guess what? No flawless round here for Empire, and instead they have a whole minute to work with as they've dwindled away the BDS players. Big thing now is, do they have what it takes to get in behind Vault and get a plant down? We've barely seen any players from them throughout the major. I want to see more, but if they're going to do it via elimination, all power to them.
If they can get away with it, we'll see. They've got enough number stats up now for themselves in a 4 versus 2. Dan and Ranshiro going to heads, but with Ranshiro going down to low HP, BDS steps in, makes it a 2v1 and shuts down the Zofia player, gets a second as they try and push their way into Aviator. So no rotate for a 90 push this time from Empire. They wanted to do this pretty straight and narrow, go down the standard path of getting the default plant spot in behind Vault door. They're going for it, but do we see a C4 come on? In fact, no, Ranshiro's going for a big flank here. Knows one, but they also know where he is. He's got to win a 1 versus 2. Can he do it for himself? Orders a round end here. It ends here. Empire 4-2 on the attacking half of Villa put themselves into a commanding position going into the defensive side.
It seemed a little bewildering to me that he was able to get that plant down. I think Ranshiro still had a C4 in pocket. He was so far away from where the push was happening that it made a little bit of a nonsensical kind of vibe for me that he would stay over towards the main stairs. Why not rotate yourself over, get a C4 prepped in hand, ready to throw up over some of those rotates or those high holes they've made between side, and then you give yourself more possibility in a 2v2. So by not doing so, they did limit themselves quite a lot. They limited themselves down to forcing gunfights when Ranshiro was quite low HP. And that's okay, but what's not okay is that BDS now, 2-round deficit. You've got to be able to put rounds on the board now on a side that statistically is weaker for you. So I hope that they're not discouraged. And we did hear in the interview that they don't get discouraged. They crack a joke here and there. They lighten the mood. Alem said, we try and keep positive and every round's a new round. Well, we've got to see that here from them now.
Interesting out today as well, they've moved the Iana back over to playing with frags. Yesterday against Virtus Pro, we saw them bringing smokes on that more often than not, so they still have the execution tool given that they banned the ace away. Also really helps admittedly with their living and library assault, so maybe it's more specific to that site, but we did also see them use it once onto their attack of this site. If you remember, sadly from Virtus Pro, there was a perfectly placed smoke canister that completely ruined Brede, destroyed any chance of a plant going down, and won the round for Empire. With the mirror going down where it is here, it's almost like they're preparing themselves in anticipation of an attack coming into Aviator and just saying, look, play with the mirror. We swing out, we get our spray downs, we play for our C4s. Let BDS play the game they want to. Walls deny them when it comes to trying to go for the plan.
Oh no, the dreaded ACS is back. The joystick dreaded ACS. It sounds like a Dominion of Hell every time he shoots that damn weapon. I hate listening to it, personally. And he said in the interview yesterday, his teammates also hate listening to it. So I think he's very much alone in his own ACS bubble. He makes a lot of lines of sight with them. He makes a lot of rotates and holes and whatnot with it. And I've seen him get some pretty damn good long-range shots with it on Oregon, for example. That double mirror setup, we can't ignore it. I know you spoke about them going, okay, we know exactly where they're going to play it, so they're setting it up for like 100% aviator take. But this is a terrifying mixture of mirrors. There's one with the soft wall, which would allow them to throw a C4 over it. There's one which will allow them to quick peek on a hard surface. There's a lot of commitment here.
Just a little bit. We'll see how effective it turns out to be, because BDS, surely, if you're scouting that out, you're thinking, right, guys, we need to do what Empire did in round 5. We need to go for this 90 push and go for an assault inside a game instead, because Aviator simply off limits unless we can do some work from below. So maybe that's another thought process for them. The vertical play might play into their favor. We'll We'll see how the round progresses. Given that we are halfway through, mind you, you would expect some good progress to already be made in deciding on what the game plan is going to be. But for the most part, I think a lot of it has just gone into saying, let's get the top side of the map cleared out.
I saw them rotate Bride out, and I think they know that someone's playing hatch corner here, and perfect grenade from below. He'll explode alongside the hatch. And that's a Lems getting a beautiful kill onto Dan. The problem with Dan now being dead, it's all up to Scyther to keep the southern part of the map in control of Empire. If they lose that, all of a sudden you have no possibility to challenge the vault door other than C4s and smokes, which is not what you want to rely on.
I really would have thought Scyther would have seen that as well. The second grenade coming out to get rid of the Evil Eye that was planted just to the left-hand side of the window. So removes a little bit of that information that was feeding inside of Aviator in case the plant does come through. It would have been ready, but you peek. Okay, they step out from him behind the mirrors and actually go for a challenge quite directly and lose it out. No surprises there. Always without a C4 is now going to go for absolute spray downs to close it out. He almost brings Rafale down, but with a slither of HP left, he's now getting off the plant. And with no C4s, this is panic stations for Empire. They've got to go aggressive. They're somewhat smoked out. A team kill comes in for BDS, the first death on their team this round. It's a 4 versus 2 in a post plant. Something tells me Empire are not going to get the chance to hold on to this, Jess.
Oh, what a beautiful and well done job there by BDS. Them rotating everything over to study, taking study control and just going, we can do this if we have the study control, just solidifies to me that they identified that those mirrors would be a problem. They said, here's a solution, just like they did against VP last time they played Villa. They said, we have a problem, let's identify a solution. It was Rafale who came up with it then. Not sure who came up with it now, but you could tell the rotate call came out the moment that Bride had to rotate himself entirely from bedroom all the way over to study, and they said, this is how we want to do it. Smart play. I don't know what else to say other than you could tell BDS can adapt on the fly. They've prepped themselves early, and that all culminates into a nice mixture.
6 of 8 rounds on this map have been on Aviator Games. The teams are very, very passionate about Aviator Games, Jess.
Let's bring up, because I already spoke about BDS's site stats, at least here in the EU Major, and then we go pick Empire, we go to Defense, we pick Villa, we scroll down. Oh, yeah. Huh. Okay. So they've never played Living Library and they don't like it. Fair enough. Most teams outside of VP, no problems. The one time they played Dining Kitchen, they won it. So might not be a bad site for them. They don't like Statue and Trophy. They lose it a lot, even though they play it a lot. And their primary site is Game Room and Aviator, which they've lost a couple of times and only won. They've won less than they've lost. So I just think for them, they don't know which site would work best for them, to be honest.
Well, if anyone's ever curious how Aviator games can be played, then I guess this is a fair example of how different teams like to play it, because you've seen different setups, different attacks in nearly every single round, whether the attack came down through Aviator or was down 90. We haven't really seen a study take, which I think was the air quotes old way of doing things, where the intent was to get the wall leading into Aviator open, try and make your push happen. But with a lot of teams playing on main stairs, which is very kindly being highlighted by our observer here, I'm not sure if it's easy or medics, I won't lie, but with the shields that you normally see make study a lot harder to take control of. So understandably, that's not become really a popular push anymore, and that northern take is definitely the way to go. An attempt to jump out from Scyther, but guess what, Shiko? Just a bit too ready for that.
He jumped out from the top window when they were meleeing the bottom window. That's an interesting one. I don't mind a bit of, heavy aggression early on, especially when it's going to take them off guard. But there were multiple players out there that were trying to obviously deal with that window and deal with that push. That's a very long-range Ash charge, which I believe is meant to dispatch with one of the shields that teams commonly play in the corridor. Instead, it means that Always is just going to use his C4 as well, and no one's actually repelling on the window, so that would be a bit of a waste, but he pockets it in the end. And BDS, they look like they want to hit the site with a bit of speed. Fair enough, Empire did the same. They're going to have to be careful. They want to keep this man advantage.
I'm just enjoying, especially for 1 or 2 members, and I know for 11 it's been a big part of the game for them, the vertical play that BDS have been deploying. The grenades coming from below, the I suppose awareness they had of their first time playing this map back on Friday when they got bullied by Virtus Pro from vertical angles. They've kind of realized, okay, actually Villa, it's a map we're going to play behind the verticals on a lot more because it works so well for them. We can absolutely do the same. And again, it's been really good seeing them kind of evolve on this map over the last 3 days with their counters to things that certain teams do to kind of growing into the map more. Really happy with what I've seen from BDS, and to me puts to bed I think the assumption or statement many would have had that they are a team that is quite static, that they will do the same thing because, well, if you don't lose, there is no onus on you to change. Whereas at this major, they have been tested, they have been pushed, and that's always great to see.
Well, we know that the Giants can be dethroned, and they were in that previous matchup against Empire yesterday. If you missed it, you can go back, you can watch it. It's on the YouTube, it's on the Twitch. You know, R6 Esports, etc., and Rainbow Six on Twitch. So go back and have a watch of it because Team Empire dismantled them. And to come in today against those foes who knocked you off your perch and say to yourself, it's okay, we've got this, we can bring it back because we are technically the best team in Europe. I want to see that. They're still a round deficit at the moment, but it's just the first map of a best of 5.
Ooh, Brede trying to push his way into Study, and Dan a little... I want to say so much aggressive, but definitely pushing up aggressively towards Study. Gets swung on by Renshiro, who's pushing down the other side of 90. Did want to get himself back to site, I think, but no real option to get away with that. Rafal going for the plant, but a C4 comes out to deny it. 3 versus 2 for Empire, 3 versus 1 as they found the kills that they need. This is them moving up to 5 rounds on the board as they take round number 8. Once it comes down to execution time, BDS not able to deliver the goods here.
It was smart to play it behind the maps table as well because it had the least vertical angles opened up from below, and they didn't quite have a lot of presence below. So if someone had a run down, and that would have been a little bit of deja vu for BDS. You remember, who was it, Milon, who ran below and denied the plant on Villa the other day. And so they didn't want to repeat that. So they tried to find a spot that didn't have any vertical holes opened up, but it didn't matter. There was a C4 waiting to go. And had the 90 or the classical hall player challenged at the same time that C4 was going to be thrown, things might have been different. And so this is a game of mere fractions of mere seconds. And unfortunately, consistently a little bit, they've been going into the way of Empire rather than BDS. So I'm not saying BDS's attacks aren't strong. They are, but we're seeing 2 really big hitters go head to head here, and Empire are just that little bit more perfect.
Just a little bit. I mean, if they get the second round here, that's the number of rounds that we saw BDS take on their defense, which would put us into a very worrisome spot going forward. 6 and 3. You know, suddenly BDS's map choice doesn't go the way that they anticipated. However, well, I say the way they anticipated. They're going to Villa, a map they've hated all year long. But we see this quite a lot. And in fact, I think we commented on this back on Friday, is that when it comes around to best of 3, sometimes you will see teams take each other's map, and then it goes through to that third and final map to determine who walks away the winner. It's really interesting seeing how that changes. So maybe even with the history and context around this map, it isn't all that surprising.
I wouldn't be surprised if teams, especially at this level, win each other's map. None of that would surprise me whatsoever. And in fact, we used to see it in the previous season, even before the iteration of EUL. It used to be that thing where, in a best of 3, teams would win each other's map for some strange reason. And it was just because the teams played more free. They weren't quite as stuck into their strats and therefore not quite as adaptable. And so I think in this particular situation, it's not quite like that. I'm not analyzing it like that. What I'm more saying is that Team Empire are having better timings than BDS. They're getting away with a lot more, and they're being just that tad more coordinated, I think. And that's what's reaping them the rewards here.
Good couple of setups coming out of Empire in this defensive round as well. This has been, I think, the go-to hold that every single team has employed in the site all major long. A couple of ADS is set down inside of Astro. You have a couple of shields inside there. I believe Versus Pro also was broke a record, but with a team that deployed 3. Here there is only 1. Normally you'd see one more closer to the bathroom from Cypher's current position, more towards the end of the black box, and another one also just in front of the rotate that leads back into sight. So here with just the 1, as soon as that disappears, Cypher probably needs to get out of dodge and not be looking to play too aggressive. But Empire most definitely not investing as many members into the Astro hold as what we saw out of BDS earlier on.
They really need to get rid of this shield. They are going to have to cook those ADSs. There's no way around it. Okay, Scyther might get a little bit, too quick to the gun, and he'll peek over the shield and give away his life, but you can't bet on him doing that. You can't bet on him being overly aggressive, throwing away his life when he has the shield to play behind. The best way to deal with him would be to grenade or impact from below. I don't see anyone in a position to do that, and actually Always is below instead, so he might get a free C4 onto Striker.
Marley, I was going to say, he has been downstairs always for the longest of times now. And I'm thinking, okay, when does he make his move? When does the call come through to come and C4 inside a bathroom? The opening kill came out from Dan, but either way, this trade's coming back and forth between both sides. That C4 does connect, and it's on to Shaiko, who was down but not out, but it's still a completed kill. 4 versus 3 for Empire, 45 seconds to go.
This is the power position here. Joystick, Elder in hand. He needs to hold off on Bathroom. Can he? Not really. Some shoulder shots coming out on a Renshiro, and oh no, he needed to have connected those because there's only one Smoke Babe left. Shepard's going to throw that one towards Bathroom, and Dan's going to flip himself over towards Bedroom Door. And with 25 seconds left, oh, I don't know, BDS, they're going to have to hit some wild shots, and they do.
Oh, Renshiro, stop it! 3 kills for himself before he finally gets put in the dirt. But this leaves Shepard in a 1 versus 1 against Brede. The support players that we picked up in their series yesterday coming head to head. 10 seconds to go, and Brede has got to make it happen now. He's going to try and go for a plan. Anything to keep match point at bay for a couple of seconds longer. Going to rush in, go for the kill. We're down to the final few seconds, but Shepard has just enough left. Empire move up to match point by the skin of their teeth in that closing round.
Where was that evil eye that was feeding that information? Because both teams now have fallen to the detriment of not destroying evil eyes. Both teams have had possibilities to plant, possibilities to get away with where their position is in the dying seconds of a round, and an evil eye almost every single time has given away their position. Now, I don't know whether it's because they're so focused on everything else that by the time they get close enough to site, there's either not enough utility to deal with them, or it's just not one of their main priorities. But I mean, that round, if he hadn't been able to plant without being spotted, that might have gone a very different way. I'm excited to see a Frost. I'm excited to see Dining and Kitchen. Finally, we'll see a downstairs hold, which I expect them to do a pretty well upstairs kind of hold with it. But now that she has the ITA, there's so much more possibility for them to be able to do a lot more. No more Maestro either, so no ACS. I don't know what to expect here. I really don't know what to expect, but I'm seeing a few C4s. I'm expecting possibly a top floor hold out of this. They win this stairs, and it solidifies in my mind that Empire are looking hot today.
You told me 1 round ago that in the next round we would see Vigil, Pulse, and Frost all swapped in for the lineups that we've seen all map long. I'd have told you you're a liar and go away.
Yep.
They still have 3 C4s. They have the information from the Pulse. They have the Frost, I imagine, for the shield more than anything else. But we've spoken a couple of times around how she also brings that supplementary shotgun to help with terraforming the site. That's secondary and the ITA now available. And I believe, I can't remember, I think it was towards the back end of the regular season, we did see someone jumping into a Frost mat. It's happened a couple of times in National Leagues. We saw it once or twice in Challenger League as well. Turns out it ain't so rare anymore. It's not just a meme. Players do actually walk into them when they're so tunnel vision on doing other things.
Joystick, I believe, either ran out or threw a C4 exactly where he's looking now. It didn't do any damage, but they know now that Laundry Door's open. They know that Empire are probably playing it quite aggressively. And for him to be playing it quite aggressively with the SMG is a little bit of a laugh, I think, you know, especially long range. You want people to be close range when you engage with the SMG, but that's okay. No one has taken damage, but what the damage has been done to Empire is that they don't have a C4 that they could deploy upstairs. There it is. Oh. He jumps into the bear trap, the first bear trap here that I've seen throughout the entire major, and well, he'll get finished off there by always, and that's why you drone, ladies and gentlemen.
The beautiful Frost mat strikes. It's going to happen to someone at some point. Invisible Matty says, nah, you just jump straight into it. I agree, Shepard. No. I agree.
Oh, God. Clap back.
Debris, whatever else it might be, he's dead, and that's all there is to say to it. It's 4 versus 2. Brede and Shaiko. Big clutch player on Brede. Shaiko, one of the big fraggers for this team that we always shout out about, gets a bit too aggressive for my liking. Brede shuts one back the other side, but this could be it. 3 versus 1. And Empire, if they win this round, they move up to not just series point, but to winning the entire major. They have to win 1 map. It would be map number 2 coming up next to see if it goes that way, given Empire walked in with that 1 map advantage. But there is still 1 minute and 10 left. Brede can take his time. He has a single drone left to look at that. They know about the angle. He knows that he might be watching him, and he'd be right. But no bullets come back against Brede, but Shepard goes down to about half HP.
If you're Empire right now, you play this safe. You do not throw this to someone like Brede, who has had some of the highest levels of clutches throughout stage 1 and stage 2 of EUL. You don't do that. You just play safe, you try and secure the round win, secure the map win, and throw yourself onto series point, as you said. This is it for Empire. This is what they've worked so hard to be able to do, to prove that they are back, that the Russian machines are well-oiled and ready to strike back. And I know Empire Strikes Back is the big meme that everyone's sort of talking about at the moment, but they're bringing this to fruition as we speak.
The worst thing is with the Pulse on side, they track literally every single movement that you make. They know where you are, they know where you're pushing, they know what's currently going on, and Brede is trying his best to swing in, but you've still got a shield to deal with here. 10 seconds to go. He's not going to find the kills that he needs. He does find one. Don't think he'll be able to find the next in good time and get a plant down at the same time, and in fact, a Pokeball comes out from Dan to close things out, and there's the boys in their celebration here. It's not quite as emphatic as you'd hope when the whole thing is won, because they know there is still work to do. But one map stands between them and that spot at the top of the table, at the top of European competition as being major winners.
You'd see a cheeky little smile from Joystick at the end there. Many players of Empire stepping up. You look at the scoreboard there. Renshiro yet again doing everything he can for BDS, but it's